Okay, good morning everybody. Let's start the class. Okay, today we are going to discuss about growth curves of microorganisms. Okay, until now we have seen the isolation techniques, inoculations, and everything. So in the part B, the next topic is this one: growth curve of microorganisms. Yeah. Okay, today we will see growth curve of microorganisms. Okay, in the inoculation, the culturing techniques will be like this one, the slant angle. Okay, when we just given a culture or medium, whatever we'll call, nothing but a nutrition for the microorganisms. Whenever we slant the liquid surface or the solid surface like this, the surface area will be increased. So in order to increase the surface area on which the microorganisms will grow, will have a very much advantages in culturing that microorganism. So these are the various type of culturing techniques. So if you see, this is a slant angle, slant culturing, and this is slant or deep. Okay, so this type of when we just tilted that micro tube or a tube test tube, then the surface area of that medium will be increased so that microorganisms will grow at their own rate. Then this is somewhat deep growth. This is a common growth type, and this is growth from Durham tube. So some tube will be there in order to increase the surface area on which the microorganisms will retain more. So this is a plate technique. We already have seen this. So these techniques are there, 6 techniques. So out of this, whenever the slant angle we have given, the surface area will be very high for the microorganisms to grow. Whenever the bacteria is transferred from the slant culture to a known volume of liquid medium, the population undergoes a characteristic sequence in its rate. So it increase the number of cells. So here the y-axis is plotted as log of number of bacteria. Okay, number of bacteria is plotted against the time. So this is simple 2D graph. So in this one, whenever the bacteria is getting transformed from the slant culture to the liquid medium, the bacteria will undergo their multiplication, or it will have a constant number of growth. It will have a growth phase. It will see. So now there are 4 types of phases in this one, or 4 types of we can say stages. We can say growth stages. We can say for the bacteria. The starting phase is the lag phase. Okay, in this phase, as you can see, this y-axis is constant. So there is no multiplication of number of bacteria or a number of microorganisms. Okay, as an example of bacteria, this figure I was saying, we can say this is the microorganisms. There is no growth of multiplication of number of microorganisms, whereas what we say number of microorganisms will not grow, whereas growth will be high. Okay, this will be initiated, growth will be initiated. They increase their size but not in numbers here. Okay, as soon as it reaches the exponential phase, there will be a exponential or log phase. We can call this is a log phase also, or exponential phase. Whenever the um, the second phase has been come out, so second phase is log phase. The exponential number of multiplication of bacteria, we can see bacteria or a microorganisms will see. Here the growth will not be there for the bacteria or the microorganisms, only the numbers will be multiplied. Okay, then after that what will happen, the growth and numbers multiplication will be stopped. This stage is called a stationary phase. So stationary phase is nothing but mm, they already reached a peak stages. Okay, after this stationary stage, there is no multiplication of number, there is no growth, only they will just consume whatever they are getting. Then after that, the final stage they will reach as a death phase. They will reach death phase means it is nothing but death of that particular cell. So in the lag phase, there is no increase in number of viable cells. Okay, there is no increase in the number of viable cells. During this period, the cells increase the size as a result of extensive macromolecular synthesis. So here, when we give some nutrient growth or a nutrients or a agar solution for the bacteria, only they will just grow in their size. Okay, they will not grow in their number. So multiplication of number is not possible. They will not release from each other. This stage represents this period of active growth without cell division, and cells prepare for division. Okay, they are just yet to preparing the division of the cells. Okay, they are not at all divided. So after reaching this exponential phase only, the cells will be just able to divide themselves, just able to multiply themselves. So that phase is called a log phase or a exponential phase. So this is a lag phase. This is a log or exponential growth phase. In log phase, what happens? The cell population increases logarithmically, and the cells divide at a maximum rate, permitting by the composition of medium and environmental conditions. Whatever the medium we are provided, medium is nothing but the food for the microorganisms. Whatever the food we are providing and the surrounding environments we are using for the incubation or inoculation. So depending on that, they will just able to multiply themselves. The cell numbers will be increased exponentially and increased as a in a log phase. The cells during this period increases as a function of exponent. So this period is called the exponential phase. Maximum growth rate will occur only in the exponential phase. Okay, after that the microorganisms will reach to a stationary phase. The period of exponential growth is followed by this stationary phase, in which the total number of viable cells will remain constant. Whatever the cells they have multiplied in the exponential phase will remains constant here. They will neither grow, they will neither multiply. So that phase is called a stationary phase. The duration of stationary phase varies with the microorganisms and the environmental conditions. Here also, the stationary phase length with respect to time will depend on the type of microorganisms as well as the conditions. In the growth phase also, the food that we are giving for the microorganisms, and at the same time the environmental conditions, whatever the conditions we are providing for the microorganisms to grow, uh, on which the exponential phase is dependent. But here in the stationary phase, only it is dependent on the particular microorganisms and environment, not on the medium or the food. Okay, the some microorganisms display a long stationary phase lasting for several days, while others very short for a few hours. So some microorganisms will have a stationary phase very high for the many days. It will just behave in a just be in a stationary phase, whereas some microorganisms only just for the few hours they will exhibit the stationary phase. So after that, the last stage they will undergo a last stage of death phase. The death phase is characterized by a exponential. This is exponential growth. Now this is the exponential decrease in the number of viable cells. So this is the exponential increase in the number of viable cells, and this is exponential decrease in the number of viable cells. So this phase is called a death phase. A cell is considered to have died when a population of cell from the stationary phase or the death phase is used to inoculate fresh growth medium. So whenever this a cell is reached to nearing to the death phase, we can take this bacteria or microorganisms, then we can just give it to the fresh growth medium. If you want to increase its phases, so these three phases, not to go that particular bacteria to the death phase, we have to give some fresh inoculation. Inoculation is nothing but the characteristics of the microorganisms to grow in a particular type of medium. That is nothing but inoculation. So inoculation and media is nothing but the food we are supplying, like agar solution we are supplying. So broth is nothing but whatever the culture we are giving, fermentation broth we can call, or a medium we can call, that same things. These are the same terminological terms. These are the same terminological terms. So there are four phases in which the bacteria will grow. So out of these four phases, the four phases are, first one is lag phase. Lag phase in which there is no multiplication of number of cells, and only the cells will grow in size. Whereas in the exponential phase, the cells will be multiplied. Okay, they will multiply and the growth will be stopped. Then the stationary phase, in which there is no growth, neither they will multiply the cells. Only the cells which are present up to exponential phase will be present in the stationary phase. Then they will approach to a death phase. Finally, a cell is considered death once they reached a stage where it will exponentially decrease in their number. So that phase is called a death phase. So these are the four phases for any type of microorganisms we can characterize. Though these phases for each microorganisms are different, but they will exhibit all these four stages. Any type of microorganisms will exhibit these stages, four stages. Okay, but the time or the duration will be a different for the different microorganisms. Okay, then next one is the fermentation process. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask in this one, in the growth curves or in the earlier sections also. Otherwise, I will just continue. Yeah. Okay. Yes, yes.
In the topic of methods of isolation, can you please explain isolation by exposure to air?
Okay. Isolation by exposure to air is nothing but whenever we are preparing this medium, okay, then what happens? We are applying here. If you see, this is a streaking method. Okay, bacteria is collected from some source, like we can collect from the table or we can collect from the door handles or anything. So instead of this one, exposure to air is nothing but our air will contain many types of bacteria. Already we know. After preparing that agar solution or a culture medium, so when we just expose that plate, that culture plate or the medium plate to the air, the bacteria whichever is there will get transferred into that air. So subculturing is nothing but whatever the bacteria is formed, so that bacteria when we just separate a single type of bacteria, so that is called a subculturing. Okay, when we collect that with some picking technique, so that is called a picking. Okay, is it okay? Here if you
Okay,
see,
sir.
this is
Thank
the streaking, so you might have noticed in the video, he was taking some earbud and just rubbing to some handle of door. Okay, woven door or in a table, here he is just rubbing. So after rubbing, he is just streaking, applying that streaking technique on the nutrient agar. So this nutrient agar, the bacteria will be growing in this way. So whereas exposure to air is just that plate will be without any streaking, just that plate will be exposed to air. When this exposure will happen, the bacteria which are present in the air will be deposited on the culture. Using that culture, they will grow. That's it on that one. Okay, yeah, this is the about growth curve of microorganisms. Then what is the fermentation process? Okay, we have all have seen the fermentation process during the alcohol manufacturing in our school days. So fermentation is the process in which a substance break down into a simpler substance. So microorganisms like yeast or fungi or bacteria, whatever or microorganisms are there, will play a major role. Okay, they will play a major role in breaking down the whatever the large molecules are there, like glucose, sucrose, etc. Whatever these larger molecules are there, they will break into the simple molecules or a simple substance. So here the microorganisms will play a major role in the fermentation process. So fermentation products such as beer, wine, bread, yogurt, curd, cheese, and other foods items we can prepare using the fermentation process. Okay, in the fermentation process, there are three popular types of fermentation process. One is the batch fermentation process, second one is the continuous fermentation process, and third one is the dual or multiple fermentation process. So out of the fermentation, continuous fermentation process, there are three types of further, this continuous fermentation process is further divided into three more types. One is a single stage continuous fermentation process. Okay, only one stage will be there. So we can just say differentiate between continuous and batch fermentation process. In the continuous, any type of operation which is characterized as a batch means there is no continuous input and there is no continuous output. That process is called a batch process. So whereas when there is a continuous input and the continuous collection of the product from the reactor or the whatever the tank is there, so that is all a continuous process. So in this process, whenever the a single tank is present with a continuous input and continuous output, that stage is called a single stage continuous fermentation process. Whenever some of the bacteria or some of the unconverted products or something, we have to send it back to the initial stage. So then the single stage recycle continuous process is very much advantageous. So in the single stage itself, there is a one recycle loop will be there. So that is called a single stage recycle continuous fermentation process. then multiple stage. Rather than just synthesizing, some bacteria will produce as toxic products. Okay, some microorganisms will just produce as toxic products in one fermenter. So the toxic products, in order to remove the toxic products, we will use certain other type of bacteria, certain other type of microorganisms in the next fermenter. Okay, in the next fermenter, which is coming in sequence with the first fermenter. Or we can say some of the unconverted materials will be converted into the using some other microorganisms in the next fermenter. During those stages, the multi-stage continuous fermentations are very much advantageous, or we can say dual or multiple fermentation process. Whatever that stages are there will be present in the multiple. Okay, they may be present in the multiple tanks in the tanks format. So here, if you can see, the first one is the batch fermentation process. So batch fermentation is obviously carried out in a batches. Batch is characterized by there is no continuous input and there is no continuous output. Here in the batch process, fermentation medium is filled up to the 80%. Up to the 80% of this tank will be filled with the nutrition, or a media we can call. In the enzyme, in the microbiology, the media is nothing but a food which we are supplying for the microorganisms. So up to 80% of this tank will be filled by the media, or a culturing growth. Um, 80% of this space will be filled by the media, and the remaining space is used as head space. So this remaining, whatever the space is called, whatever the space is there, it is called a head space. So head space is used whenever the fermentation process is carried out. Some of the gases will be released, like the CO2, or depends on some methanogenic bacteria. If that is a methanogenic bacteria, some methane will be released. Some other gases will be released. Air can also be present in that one. So froth will also be present. So in order to accommodate that, 20% volume of this tank will be left as a head space. So whatever the gases are formed or the foams are formed will be filled in this head space. So further, the inoculation medium, the fermentation is steam. So after after converting whatever the products we are obtained, this fermenter, this batch fermenter will be drained off and it will be sterilized. Okay, before going for the next stage of fermentation, so we will just sterilize that one using some suitable sterilization techniques. Then the nutrition medium is cooled. So after collecting this nutrition medium or inoculation with desired volume of inoculation using some aesthetic conditions. So whatever the inoculation medium is there, after coming out, it will be cooled and it will be collected in the separate medium. So you can say, take the example of ethanol. So ethanol, or a biogas. So if this is a sucrose or a glucose, then whatever the sucrose or glucose are there will be consumed by the yeast and bacteria. Then they will convert that glucose and sucrose into the simple molecules like ethanol. Then this ethanol will be just collected and purified. So that is nothing but, so fermentation process, up to the fermentation process the alcohol will be produced, and after fermentation process the stages are nothing but a purification stages. So if you consider this as a biomass material, okay, cow dung or something, so the bacteria, methanogenic bacteria will be added to this tank. That methanogenic bacteria will just consume this sludge or a biomass. This biomass will be consumed by that methanogenic bacteria, and after consuming that one, they will release the gases like CH4. To some extent, the CO2 they will release. Then that is nothing but a natural gas, or a biogas we can say. So biogas will be released in this head space. In this head space, whatever the gases are there will be collected through a pipeline and sent to the purification channels. So that is the example for for the solid fermentation process. Biogas is the example, and the liquid fermentation process, the ethanol is the example. As you can see here, um, the concentration versus time graph. Initially the concentrations of any type of whether it may be liquid or solid biomass or the liquid reactants, so that will be, the concentration will be very high. As soon as we added this microorganism, the concentration will be just decreasing. Here in the enzyme terminology, substrate is nothing but a reactant. Okay, in the chemical technology we can just say it is a reactant, whereas in the enzyme or a microbiology, we will say that reactant as a substrate. So substrate concentration will decrease from the initially high concentration to the lower concentration as the time is increased. So this is regarding the batch fermentation process. and then the continuous fermentation process. The first one is the single stage continuous fermentation process. Okay, in the single stage fermentation process, okay, we have to discuss these advantages and disadvantages of this batch fermentation process. So advantages of batch fermentation process, as you can see, the batch fermentation process are very simple. There is no any moving parts, there is no continuous addition, there is no continuous withdrawal of the product. So this will require less space. Okay, there are fewer chances of contamination. Why? Because every time when we just drain this whatever the products form, after draining we will sterilize this one, we will add a new batch of inoculation or new batch of a substrate to this tank. Whenever we are sterilizing in each stage before the each batch, that obviously the contamination, the chances of contamination will be very less. So the batch fermentation process will require a very less space because it don't have any continuous addition of the reactant or continuous collection of the product, and at the same time it will have a less contamination because in every batch stage we will just sterilize and we will just drain off whatever the products will form. Because of that, there will be a less contamination in the batch type of process, and this process is very easy to handle. Okay, there is no continuous automations or something. Whatever the batch we are required, we will pour into inside it. So it is very easy to handle. Then what are the disadvantages of this continuous process? So disadvantages is the time consuming process, this one, because whenever we after the enzymatic reaction of the after the fermentation process, this tanks needs to be drained off, completely drained off. At the same time, this tanks will be prepared for the next stage. So in preparing for the next stage of batch operation, and in order in also draining this first stage or the consecutive stage, the time consumed will be very high. So this batch type of process will have a disadvantages of time consuming, large more amount of time consuming in the cleaning, sterilizing and cooling. So the yield of the product which is obtained in the batch product is low compared to the continuous production process. Whereas for the large scale industrial process, continuous process will be very much advantageous. For the small scale processes, or where the relatively high purity products are required without any contamination, the batch processes are very much important. Then this next one is the single stage continuous process. So single stage continuous process is in which the single fermenter will be there. So nutrient reservoir. So this is nutrient reservoir, nothing but a media, we can say, nothing but a food for the microorganisms, we can say. Whatever the food or a nutrient reservoir is there, from it it will be collected to the fermenter using the pump. So in the fermenter itself, whatever the
Sir, your mic is in mute, sir.
okay, from how much time it is in mute?
Just now only, sir.
Just okay, somebody muted me.
It's on the right, sir. You should be make all of them attendees, sir.
Make all of them
Attendees. Like if you click on each person, it will show us make an attendee. So before posting a meeting, you should do that, sir.
okay, yeah. But in the CT chemical technology, usually you are presenting. That's why I'm keeping that alive. Whereas mass transfer operation, I'm doing so. Okay, no problem. Okay, I request you, please don't mute me. Okay, there are three types of continuous fermentation processes. So out of this, the first one is a single stage continuous process in which the single fermenter will be present. Whatever the nutrient reservoir is there, this nutrient is nothing but the food for the microorganisms, or we can say it is a media for the microorganism. So we will supply this nutrient from the nutrient reservoir to the fermenter. So in this one, the bacteria will play a major role in converting whatever the substrate or whatever the reactants are there. It will convert to the useful products, and after that it will be sent to the harvest reservoir. In this one, the separation of product will be takes place. So in the continuous single stage fermentation process, so fermenter is continuous. You can see there is a continuous addition of the nutrients and continuous addition of the products will be there. In this process, the media is added at a specific rate, as well as the product form is removed at a same rate. Whatever the media we are giving inside this fermenter will be the same rate as the product we are collecting from this particular fermenter. The input of the media and output of the fermented media is balanced. Okay, whatever the output we are taking, it will be balanced with the input. So it will be a balanced approach. So next one is the single stage recycle continuous process. So single stage recycle continuous process is used for the in terms of in place of this continuous process. So the rate of inoculation of fermentation media and the rate of withdrawal of fermentation broth is same. Just 1 second. Now it is okay. Okay, in this process, a portion of the fermentation broth, but the whatever the withdrawal culture is there, is recycled to the fermenter once again. Whatever the biomass which is not converted, or the fermentation, whatever broth will be there, that will be collected here in the centrifuge after separation of the whatever the product is formed. Supernatant is nothing but whatever product is formed will be collected as a some part of the fraction. Then the remaining part will be just sent back to the recycle loop, in the recycle loop to the fermenter. So this is called a continuous recycle single stage recycle continuous fermentation process. So wherever the unconverted products are there, wherever we have to send some of the mother substrate to the towards the fermenter, so we have to use the single stage recycle continuous process. In the multi-stage also we can apply the recycle process, but contamination will be very high for the multi-stage process, whereas in the single stage process the contaminations are very low, because the same type of microorganisms we are using in the single stage operations, continuous recycle operation. Then the multi-stage continuous fermentation process. Then multi-stage fermentation process, you can see we can use the two fermented process or more than one. Multi-stage is nothing but more than one fermenter will be used. In this one, what happens, the certain one type of bacteria or the one type of microorganisms will be used in the fermenter. In many times what happen, the microorganisms which are used in the first stage will be just producing some of the toxic products. Okay, some of the toxic products. Then that microorganisms or some of the reactants or the substrate, we can say that substrate will be unconverted, remain in an unconverted state. In that case, or otherwise, when the first microorganisms are producing some of the toxic products, then we can use some other microorganisms in the fermenter too. So whenever the fermenter 1 is used, the substrate is coming from the tank 1, this tank, to this fermenter 1, and then it is agitated, and whatever the substrate together with the microorganisms action takes place in the fermenter. Whenever in this fermenter there is some toxic product, or whenever the bacteria is producing some of bacteria which are behaving like which are giving some of the unconverted products, then this unconverted products, or otherwise it will contain some toxic product, will be sent back to the this fermenter 2, or in medium, in between there is a settler is nothing but to separate the sedimentation process. Settler is nothing but a sedimentation process in which the useful product will be collected out, or some of the unused product will be sent back to the fermenter 1, and the remaining portion will be sent here. Whatever the unconverted product are there, whatever the toxic products are there, will be using some other type of bacteria or other type of microorganisms, will be converted. That particular converted reacted from the converted substrate from the fermenter 1 will be converted into the will be converted in the fermenter 2. Then it will be sent back to the settler 2, where the final desired product will be collected in the product collection tank. So this is about the multi-stage fermentation process, or uh, we can say continuous fermentation process. Then advantages. What are the advantages of the continuous fermentation product? So product form is obviously a continuous, so there is no loading and unloading mechanism. As like in the batch process, there is a loading and unloading. So time consuming will be very high in the batch process. Whereas there is no time consumption for the loading and unloading here. So this will obviously consume less time. At the same, the product form will be a continuous. So continuously we can obtain the product in this stage. So good product yield will be obtained. So we have seen in the batch process there is a low product yield, whereas in the continuous process the product yield will be very high. So inoculation, whatever the inoculation is nothing but the media on which the bacteria is growing. So that particular mechanism is called inoculation. The inoculation of culture is carried out only once in the batch process, in the continuous process, because the same batch, same inoculation batch will be used in the various continuous fermentation processes. Then the continuous fermentation process saves times in the save times because there is no loading and unloading, and also it saves the labor cost. It saves the labor working hours, we can say. So how can we save? Because in loading and unloading, in draining that particular reactants and products, so we have to invest some of the labor hours. So it will be a labor intensive. Batch process will be a labor intensive, whereas this continuous process is, since this is an automated process, this is less labor intensive process. Then there are certain disadvantages for the continuous process also. So this process is complicated and difficult to operate. Okay, here if you use more than one microorganism, the process of sending this continuous substrate and the continuous microorganisms sending in the fermenter 1 and fermenter 2 will be very complicated. So we need to be vigilant in every operation, in every continuous operation. Okay, there may be a chances of contamination. Why? We are operating it continuously. There is no sterilization in between different since the product is continuous here, there is no each stage sterilization process. So obviously whenever the one stage of continuous process receives some of the contamination, that contamination will be just carried out to the next stage, next continuous process. So in this way, the continuous this continuation process will have a disadvantages of chances of contamination. So chances of contamination will be very high. As the fermentation, this fermentation process is operated continuously. The operation, whoever operating this continuous process, this automated process, should have more knowledge about fermenter and microbial behavior and growth. So whoever this plant is operating, this continuous fermentation is operating, that operator should have some knowledge about the continuous operation of this plant. At the same time, whatever the microorganisms on which this plant is operating, that whole growth curve, okay, the whole behavior of that microorganisms has to be known by that particular operator. So these are the various disadvantages of the multi-stage continuous process. Or the last one is the dual or multiple fermentation process. So the last one among this one is the dual or multi-stage multiple fermentation process. This is the same as this multi-stage continuous process. So in this type of fermentation process, two or more type of microorganisms can be used. Okay, more microorganisms we can apply in this type of microorganisms in this type of fermentation process. In some fermentation processes, some microorganisms are unable to form a desired product, or here multiple microorganisms in use. So multiple microorganisms whenever we are applying, as I already said in the multi-stage continuous process, whenever we are applying the multi-stage continuous processes, the only required criteria is whether the first fermenter is producing the toxic products, or the first fermenter is not at all converting the total substrate. So then only we can go for this dual or multiple fermentation processes. So in the inoculation of microorganisms in the fermentation media can be done in many ways. So inoculation can be done in many ways. The first one, in the production of first type of microorganism, the inoculation period will be very constant, same as applicable for the fermenter 2 also. The whatever the microorganisms we are just inoculating is nothing but the process of just multiplying that bacteria. So that inoculation techniques are nothing but the streaking method, exposure to air, and all these method, whatever the method we are using, the separate methods we have to use for the microorganism 1 and microorganisms 2. So they need not to be a dual type of process. They can be a multi fermentated process. So in the multi fermentated process, yeah, if you consider there are 6 type of fermenters. Okay, in the multi fermentation process, there are 6 type of fermenters. So in the 6 type of fermenters, we want 6 type of microorganisms. So for the 6 type of microorganisms, we have to use 6 different types of inoculation mechanisms. So that's what regarding this continuous fermentation process. Then time is there. Then we will try to just revise this one once again. So in the next class, probably we will see the alcohol production. Uh, and why we have to use that, then the next biogas production. Then in the among this biogas production, we will see first why the biogas is very much important to the India, especially in the Indian point of view we have to discuss. And in the remaining one class we will see how to produce the biogas. So in the next 3 classes we will complete the unit 3. So we'll just revise whatever the we have covered until so far from the part B. So part B is regarding the isolation, cultivation and growth of microorganisms. So in the part A, we have seen different types of microorganisms like protozoa, algae, viruses, fungi, okay, bacteria we have seen. So all these microorganisms needs to be isolated, cultivated, and they has to provide some media to grow. So like as our human being, whatever we are just taking birth, we are growing, okay, we are also going to the death phase. Like that, microorganisms will also have a many phases. So in the part B, you have to see how to pick up the particular type of microorganisms among the various population. Okay, so among the class, in our class, we will have some of the toppers. We have some of the dull candidates. We will have. So we have to pick some of the toppers from our class. Means we have to pick. We have to adopt certain technique. So we have to sample out. That is nothing but a sample collection technique. So sample collection technique. There will be a microorganisms will be staying in this single colonial cells, or it may be in a many type of colonies. Colonies are nothing but a society types. Okay, whatever they are remaining in a colonial form as in a single cell form. So we have to choose first in what type of microorganisms we want first. Okay, and from which source we want that microorganisms. Okay, in the video you have seen that they are collecting using the bird, using the earbud. They are collecting the samples, like they are just rubbing that earbud to the some table or some handle they are rubbing. Okay, from which source we want that particular microorganisms. When we are knowing that our air contains many types of bacteria, at the same time our hand will contain certain type of bacteria, and our floor will contain certain types of bacteria or microorganisms. Okay, we know with our experimental knowledge, we already know what type of bacteria we can expect that from the particular source. So we have to choose a source first. So after choosing the source, we have to collect a sample. Collection of sample is nothing but microorganism collection. So that sample needs to be given to the media. Media is nothing but the food for the microorganisms. Whenever the bacteria we are providing to that food, so that bacteria will multiply or will grow in that medium or a food. So after growing or after multiplying, we have to identify. We have to just isolate one of the among various. For example, there are 6 type of microorganisms or the 6 microorganisms is there. We don't know what type of microorganisms there are, so we have to collect them. That collecting out of many microorganisms, we have to collect whatever the desired microorganisms is nothing but a isolation. Then that isolated microorganisms needs to be separated out from the rest of the microorganisms. That is called a isolation. Then this isolated microorganisms needs to be transferred to the pure culture. Culture is nothing but here the microorganism plus whatever the food we are providing is nothing but a in a combined form is nothing but a pure culture. In the pure culture, that isolated microorganisms will be just dropped inside that one. In the pure culture, whatever the nutrient will be there, that nutrient will be consumed by that particular type of microorganisms, and it will multiplied and it will be grown. Then after that, we have to pick the some of the microorganisms using some morphological technique or some biochemical techniques. So that is nothing but identification. Among the identifications, there are two types. One is a morphological identification. Next one is a biochemical identification. In the morphological identification, we have to use some microscopic techniques, okay, to identify what size it possesses. Out of its sizes, out of its characteristics, we can divide that. Okay, this particular type of microorganism belongs to this particular type of group. Okay, or otherwise we can using the RNA and DNA classifications, we can estimate the composition of that particular microorganisms using certain techniques. So the techniques are classified as a biochemical techniques. So using the biochemical techniques, we can identify what type of microorganism that is, or otherwise we using some morphological techniques or using some characterization techniques, we can identify that particular type of microorganism. After identification, after identification, whatever the microorganisms we have collected, whether we decide that microorganisms, we come to know that whether we are required these microorganisms, or otherwise we have to culture the separate batch of microorganisms, we come to know. So out of this, the first one is cultivation and culturing. So in the cultivation and culturing, what we have to do, this is nothing but increase of that microorganisms. So increase of that microorganism. If you see, this is a culture. This is a media. Media is nothing but a food. Media is nothing but a food. So that food will be provided to the particular type of microorganisms. Whenever we are providing the food to the microorganisms, we have to consider certain types of certain conditions which we have to maintain for the growth of that microorganism. The first one among those is purity of nature of culture. So whatever the culture we are producing, that culture needs to be a pure form. Okay, that nature, whatever the nature are there, we have to consider its nature also. We have to take into the confidence whether we have to increase its pH, whether we have to decrease its pH. Like this, that nature of that particular media is also very important. Then productive mutants. So whatever the culture we are giving to the microorganisms, what it is, whether it is multiplying that microorganism, that culture is multiplying that microorganisms, or whether that culture is just multiplying the number of cells, we have to calculate that one also, whether it is mutating themselves or whether it is growing themselves. So next, the medium or raw material. Whatever the medium we are giving, the raw materials we are giving, we have to take into consideration that also. Then the nature of the process. Okay, what type of inoculation technique we are using, it is also a given a consideration. Then preliminary experimentation. So whatever the bacteria or the microorganisms which we are required, so we have to conduct some preliminary experimentation. So in order to note the behavior of that particular microorganisms, what type of food that particular microorganisms will like, or what type of food that particular microorganisms will consume, or what type of medium it required, whether it required acidic medium, whether it required a basic medium, or whether it requires a neutral medium, what type of temperature that particular microorganisms will withstand, what type of humidity that particular microorganisms is required. So during the preliminary experimentation itself, we come to know what type of conditions we require. Then we can frame that well-defined conditions. So what are the well-defined conditions for the growth of that particular microorganisms? Okay, these five are the types of well-defined conditions for any type of microorganism growth. So first one is the nutrient. So whether it may be agar or something beef extract or something else. So whatever are there, so as we have seen the hard brain agar. So the type of nutrients, whatever the particular microorganism is consuming, is very important. Then during the preliminary experiments, we come to know what type of nutrient it is required. Then we have to prepare the nutrients, so at a ideal condition. Then the operating environment, like temperature is also important. Then pH, whether it required a basic medium or whether it required a acidic medium or a neutral medium, it is important. Then humidity, what type of humidity it is required, whether it required a much wet condition or whether it required a dry condition, we have to test. Then incubation period. So incubation period is nothing but some of the bacteria, some of the microorganisms will have a large incubation period. Incubation period is nothing but whenever we are giving the food for that microorganisms along with some microorganisms, the desired microorganisms, the productivity of the desired microorganisms achievement is nothing but a incubation period. So some microorganisms will have a less than 1 hour incubation period. Some microorganisms will have a days and days time it will take to in order to incubate that. So we have to estimate that also incubation period, so that our quality of microorganisms can be increased. So the next one is methods of cultivation and culture. So there are three types of methods. One is the physical and chemical and biological method. So physical methods largely dependent on the heat treatment, incubation temperature, pH and cell size and the requirement of what type of gases. So it will depends on the this type of physical condition, physical method. Then the chemical method depends on the what type of chemical we are supplying for its growth. So that will be depend on the chemical method. In the biological method, what types of other than the nutrient sources like a carbon source, nitrogen source, or some other glucose source we are supplying. Depending on that one, a biological method is also useful. Okay, there are three methods for the cultivation. One is the physical method, chemical method, and third one is the biological method. Then after just cultivating that microorganisms, we need to isolate and then identify that one. So after getting our microorganisms in our hand, we have to identify them what type of microorganisms. The first one is the morphological identification. In the morphological identification, depends on their shape, size, color, and colony and gram staining, or whether it may be a gram-negative bacteria, whether it may be a gram-positive bacteria. Okay, depending on this type of bacteria, we can identify using their morphology. Then if the morphological techniques we can't identify with the morphological technique, we have to go to the more advanced biochemical identification technique. In the biochemical identification technique, the catalase, coalase, urease, oxidase, this type of laboratory tests will be there. Using these tests, we can identify what type of microorganism it is. So these techniques are available for the identification. Then the next one is isolation and purification. So after identifying whatever the bacteria we required, so we need to isolate them from the rest of the population. So for example, if there are six type of microorganisms in the overall culture, then we want only type 1 microorganisms. So we have to pick the type 1 microorganisms from among the six type of microorganisms. That is called isolation. After isolating, we need to purify them. Okay, we need to identify them and purify them. So methods of isolation is we have to use a micro manipulator. So in the micro manipulator, whatever the these tubes are there, so micro pipette will be there. In the micro pipette, it has a very tiny space inside one, so it will be capable of only collecting single cell from the among the population of microorganisms. When this plate is there, inside this plate what will be there? Agar, that is nothing but food for the microorganisms. Then apart from this food, whatever the microorganisms are there will be there inside this agar plate, this petri dish. When this petri dish will be put like this, the microtube will collect this micro manipulator. Using the suction will collect the single cell. From the single cell, after collecting, the petri dish will be taken it out. After putting some viable cell inside that one, we will collect that single microorganism and we will just test that one what type of microorganism it is. So that is called the use of micro manipulator. Using this micro manipulator, we can separate the single cell from the among various multiple cells. Then isolation by exposure to air. Okay, whatever the culturing technique is there, so in this one, whatever the media agar solution we already prepared, so prepared agar solution will be just exposed to the that petri dish will be exposed to the air. Whatever the bacteria is there will be collected on the media or the food for the bacteria. Then the bacteria, using some picking technique, we will just collect that microorganisms. After applying that fresh microorganisms, that picked microorganisms to some other culture is called a subculturing. So the pure culture, from the what we call from the first culture is nothing but um, not purified culture. Okay, directly we are exposing to the air. Okay, in the air many types of bacteria will be there. So after collecting number of bacteria, so we are picking one type of bacteria among the culture. That is called a subculturing. Then isolation by a streaking or streaking plate technique. So whatever the nutrients is there like agar solution, we will prepare in this type of petri dish. So the nutrient will be present in the petri dish. That petri dish will be applied with a streaking techniques. Okay, streaking is nothing but just we are just using that spindle. We are just rotating. We are giving a path to grow to the particular microorganisms. If you consider this as a nutrient growth or a nutrient or a food for the bacteria, then we are starting here, just streaking out. We are showing the path to multiply that bacteria. So using this streaking technique, whatever the lines we are streaked out, there only this bacteria will grow. As you can see from this figure, in the streaked surface only the bacteria is just multiplying itself, so that bacteria will be multiplied. Okay, we don't know how many bacteria will be there, whether it may be one bacteria here, or whether it may be a two or more than two or more than n number of bacteria. So we are just using this spindle, we are just giving a streaking. Then you can see we are just swindling this one, the streaking this one. When we just streak this one, so we are getting a multiple bacteria after some certain incubation period. So that is called a isolation by streaking or streaking plate technique. So isolation by inoculating in animals. Whatever many types of drug preparing companies or many type of vaccination preparing companies will just operate on this type of inoculation procedure. Okay, what they will do, the certain interested microorganisms will be injected on uh, injected in certain type of animals like pigs, rabbits, or rats. So when they are injecting, they will grow in some part of that animals. So that microorganisms will be growing in some part of their microorganisms. The whatever the microorganisms are growing in certain part will be collected and will be taken out in order to identify whether they are a disease causing agent, whether they can act as a vaccination agent. So that type of technique is called a isolation by inoculation in animals. Okay, then isolation by using selective or enrichment media. Those here you have a word like selective, so, and media, enrichment media. So selective enrichment media, from its name itself we can say. So certain type of bacteria will consume certain type of food. Okay, from the experimentation we come to know, like a methanogenic bacteria, they will consume the activated compounds like a biomass. Okay, like a activated sludge something, so in order to produce the biogas. So we know that particular microorganisms will consume the only biomass. Okay, then we already know what type of food they are consuming. So we are giving a selective media, we are providing a selective media for the particular type of microorganism. Then among the population of microorganisms, we will leave that inside this petri dish. So we can identify that whoever consuming this selective media are nothing but the required microorganisms for our experiments. So in this way, we can isolate the particular type of microorganisms. So the next one is the growth of microorganisms. So growth of microorganisms, there are 4 stages for the growth of microorganism. The first one is the log phase, next one is the exponential phase, and stationary phase, and death phase. In the first phase, there is no multiplication of number of bacteria. We are taking bacteria as an example. So there is no multiplication, but they can grow in size. Whereas in the exponential phase, there is the multiplication of bacteria. So it can increase in a as a log. So n number of times it can increase. Then after reaching a stationary state, it can neither grow, it can neither multiply. Then after the last stage is called a death phase. In the death phase, the particular microorganisms will just stop to grow, will just reach to the death phase. Whenever we don't want this bacteria to reach to the death phase, we can collect the bacteria from the stationary phase and given to the new fermentation growth or a new nutrient. So in the in the inoculation procedure, inoculation is nothing but nutrient plus microorganisms. So in order to provide the growth of the microorganisms, we have to inoculate them. So in the inoculation, there are this type of 6 techniques are there. One is a slant deep, or deep, broad plus Durham tube, plate surface. All these techniques, depending on the particular technique, we have a large surface area, we can have a low surface area. Okay, depending on the particular application, we have to apply this type of inoculation techniques. So fermentation is nothing but on which the in which the microorganisms will play a major role in order to convert a large compounds into simple compounds, simple substances. So there are 3 types of fermentation process. One is the batch, continuous, and dual continuous process. So we have seen this in detail today. So in the next class, we will continue alcohol production like ethanol production, and then what is the major role of biogas which is played in the, especially in terms of India, we have to discuss that one. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. As an example, I am showing one research paper. Okay, in this one, it is titled as experimental study on non-sporulating Escherichia coli bacteria in Rebounders. This is authored by me along with my colleagues. So in this one, you can see the growth curve. Okay, this is called a growth curve of the bacteria. Okay, we have used the Escherichia coli. So here we have neglected the lag phase. So here, if you can see this Escherichia coli, up to the 20 hours also, it is having in a exponential growth phase or a log phase. It neither coming to the stationary phase. Okay, certain type of bacteria, this Escherichia coli bacteria, especially the Escherichia coli bacteria, in our experiment for nearly 18 hours, it could not reach a stationary phase or it could not reach a death phase. So the lifetime of this Escherichia coli bacteria will be very high. So that was we have used this Escherichia coli bacteria to remove the dyes like methyl oxide, methyl orange and methylene blue. So this was our research paper. You can go through it if you are interested in knowing more about the bacteria growth stages. So this is the effect of growth on E. coli. So E. coli is one type of bacteria. So that bacteria will be growing in some nutrient growth. So we have supplied additional carbon and nitrogen sources also. So like ammonium nitrate and glucose as a sources. So you can just go through the papers in my website. It is already there. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can contact me. Thank you.